We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the parties, Heaven's Parties, GospelRhythms.com, Talk Live Radio, Entertainment Party Edition. I'm Ro Williams.
Hey, I'm Trisha Mann Grant, and happy Sunday, everybody.
Yeah, happy Sunday, everybody. And go Steelers. Just got to say, just got to throw that out there. I'm just saying. Everybody got a team?
Cowboys.
That's my team. They're not playing today. Hello.
It doesn't matter that they're not playing.
You pump your brakes.
They're number one.
Anyway.
That's all I just need to say. We're just going to throw that out there right now. So we need for you all to win, okay? We just need y'all to win.
And the
so
whole league is in shock.
I know it's a miracle. It will be a miracle, but I hope you guys do that.
Well, it's a miracle that we are here and blessed with you guys tuning in. Please tweet, Instagram, Facebook, what else is there? Snapchat.
SOS. Go knock on
Facebook
somebody's
Live,
door.
Instagram
Yell
Live.
down the street like she would do.
Yo.
Go straight ghetto and let everybody know we're Gospel Rhythms.
Yo, and that we
Live.
have the incomparable Don B. Welch and family in the house.
Don
today.
B.
Everybody, we got a studio audience. Yeah, and so we're going to give y'all a minute so you can handle that and bring folks invited to the party. Everybody's a
That's
VIP.
right.
But we can't move forward without showing love to Herb Trawick. Who,
Wow.
Oh, my God. He was our guest last week. Okay, and anybody that suffers from dyslexia like myself, I flipped a 9 and a 1 of the address, and let's just say it took him more than a minute to get here. But he brave, you know what I'm saying?
He
was
made
a
it,
Santa
though.
Monica.
And-
Oh my God,
yeah.
And so he was here. It was an awesome show, and he's a pioneer in the online television industry, and he used to be Brian McKnight's manager. He was a record industry label for a number of years, and he actually won the Creative Innovator Legend Awards from the Living Legends for the Music Industry Awards that they just had a couple months back. So much love to you. Thank you so much, Herb, for blessing us
Herb.
with your presence. And for those of you who have never heard of it, he has an online show called Pensado's Place, and it celebrates everything that goes into audio engineering. Mike Pensado is a renowned engineer and has worked with the likes of Beyonce and Lady Gaga, just to name a few. And so they partner together. They have that show, among some other things, like the Pensado Awards that bestows awards to folks who have achieved in their craft of audio mixing and engineering. It's not necessarily my personal lane, but the cool thing about his talk show is that they don't just have audio engineers that are just in the industry music-wise. So they kind of try to broaden it to lure more people to get into seeing how the art of sound makes everything come together, whether it's on a record, on television, on film, across the board. So we love you, Herb. Thank you.
We do. And if you missed it last week, make sure you go into YouTube and check us out. Go to LA Talk Live and look up Gospel Rhythms, and you will see it from last week. All right.
And they can actually check it out on America Talk Live too, because the shows are out there as well. And a shout out and much love to Richard, our engineer, and he was a blessing. He helped land Starship Gospel Rhythms. And when you think of a scripture, I don't know what the scripture is you're going to share before we go to commercial and we come back, but sometimes adversities and challenges come, and in the church, outside the church, in the world, you just got to persevere.
And we did that.
Yeah,
Don't
we
let me
did.
hang
God,
around. We
we did all things through Christ.
Let me tell you something. All things. Let me tell you. We just talked. Like we pretty good at that. We talked through the whole show, and finally Herb came on in, and then Richard was kind enough to let us continue on about 30 minutes longer. So we appreciated that. It usually doesn't work that way on live radio. You know, there's a time schedule.
And you got to end when you're supposed to end.
When you're supposed to end, start when you're supposed to start.
But
favor, just go. Well, favor, hey man, give us some more favor.
And you know, when Don comes on, you know, he understands about the pressure cooker of this industry. And I mean, I really was almost to tears, and I was having a little internal meltdown, but my sisters in love, and everybody in the studio that was here, including Richard, just help, because those kind of mistakes you don't want to do. So I just thank you, God.
Stuff
Thank you,
happens.
Herb. Thank you,
Move
team.
on next.
Yeah.
It happens.
Speaking of next, we're going to go to commercial and come back to our crew. But what was the scripture
before that, you
little-
all know how I do. You know how I do. I
Yeah.
just, whatever I turn to, that's what I see. Somebody needs this word. I don't know who, but hey, if you're dealing with enemies out there, you're dealing with situations, just know in Psalm 25, do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me. So sometimes, like we said last week, you don't have to cuss somebody out. You don't have to go off on them. Just go to your word. Lord, look here now. You see what's going on. Do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me in Jesus' name. So, all right, you guys, we are going to commercial. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Don B. Welch and his entire amazing cast of Church Secrets. Yeah. You are
the
watching
church is in the
Gospel
house.
Rhythms. I am Trisha Mann Grant.
I'm Ro Williams in my church clothes.
And this is Heaven's Party here on earth. And I'm so proud of her because she didn't come here in this. Praise Jesus. Look at God.
Look at God.
We'll be right back.
See what's going on through it all. Gospel rhythm still going strong. Trusting God when it's good or when it's going wrong. Encourage other believers to keep holding on. Catching the vision and we making it plain. We the head, not the tail, so we won't complain. Here to lift up the downcast and the broken hearted. Changing lives with the truth, so let's get it started. We got the word, music, entertainment.
Hi, this is Kenny Lattimore, and you're tuned into GospelRhythms.com. Heaven's Party here on earth.
Hey, it's Tammy Mack from KJLH's Mac and Amici Show. And yes, I got a little God up in me. And when I get him in me, I go straight to Gospel Rhythms. Oh, I got heaven right here on earth. Heaven's Party here on earth with Trisha Mann and Ro Williams. Yeah, listen in. GospelRhythms.com.
Hi, I'm Anna Maria Horsford from The Bold and Beautiful, and you're watching Gospel Rhythms with Trisha and Ro.
We deliver the gospel, same message, different method, redefined apostles. Through Christ.
Hi, this is Marsha Waiteka, inviting you to join me every Monday at 1 p.m. for Born to Talk, where conversation plus connections equal community. Be sure to tune in to Born to Talk with Marsha Waiteka, Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also listen live at iTunes Radio R&B, TuneIn Radio, Radio Flag, Live 365, or AHA Radio. This is Reality Radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. We are LA Talk Live, and we are born to talk.
Can't you see what's going on through it all? Gospel rhythm still going strong. Trusting God when it's good or when it's going wrong. Encourage other believers.
Hi everyone, this is Deandra Giselle, owner of the Bar Hair Studio, and you are listening to Gospel Rhythms, Heaven's Party here on earth.
All right. We are back with Gospel Rhythms and the cast of Church Secrets.
Everybody's in the house. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Man, you know what? We're just gonna go right into it because we have Don B. Welch. I mean, he pumps out plays like 19 and counting pumps out babies. I'm just saying. It's I'm just like every time you turn around, I told him he got elves. Working with him. I'm waiting for some films to come and some TV shows.
Me too.
I know you got it down. I already synced it down the line. You just see it coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
They said I put out plays like mixtapes. That's what Tammy
Is that
said.
what it is? Oh, yeah, mixtape.
I think she said that along with Donna Meachie. I think they said that.
Man.
That's great.
So
though.
I just got to read because you had written something. I was like, for those of you who are already have tickets ready to see Church Secrets on December 17th, and for those of you who plan to get tickets or need to get tickets, he was like, friends, you need to get ready. Oh, can they bring their kids?
Yes, you can bring your children because even some of the things that they probably shouldn't see or hear about, they won't be able to pick it up because it's not done in your face as much.
Right, because you do say.
It's kind of subtle. There might be one. It's so quick, and there's no bad language.
Right.
And there's no anything sexual actually done. There may be some. No, it's not. No, it's not. No. I wouldn't. No. Listen. Here's the thing. If you're talking about a 7-year-old, no.
Okay.
If you're talking about a preteen to their teenage years, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing that. Listen, I'm not going to write anything that I wouldn't bring my own people to. You understand? My family to. However, we are dealing with topics and things that. a little bit more, I don't want to say risque, just
Real.
So if I had a 7 or 8 or 9-year-old, they would be there.
Right.
Because I think it's the truth.
Gotcha.
And it's nothing like, there's nothing that's going to be really embarrassing. Like, I know that Pastor G from his church, he's bringing his children, and they're under teenage age, but they're like kids, like what, 9 and 10. Yeah, so that's fine. They're, like I said, they might say, "Hey, Dad, hey, Mom, what's that mean?" Or "What did that mean when they said that?" But that's about it.
And then you'll say, "I'll tell you in 10 years."
Right.
Well, he says he doesn't push the envelope often, but when he does, it's not for shock value. It's to get to the truth of the matter, no matter what. Church Secrets deals with the things that most churches dare to even think about dealing with.
Absolutely.
Wow, it will make you laugh, but it will also make you gasp a little bit. You might even shed a tear, but whatever the case is, that's why he will never abandon live theater. Come on, let's give it up for Rodney.
So listen, just real quickly, we just want all of you, each of you, to introduce yourselves, and that's a clap before you.
Okay.
And your character?
Before you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Celestial Johnson, and my character is Ella Hightower, church secretary.
Yes, all right now.
Hi, my name is Avi Bernard, and I'm playing Sean Dallas, football coach and youth minister.
Awesome.
Wow.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Jay Hunter, and I'm playing Dex Wheeler, professional football player.
I get that.
Hi, my name is Andrea Jones, and I'm playing Allison.
Why she get all deep? You see how she tried to get all sexy? Hi, my name is Andrea Jones.
Since I'm sitting next to
Right,
Andrea,
you gotta get sexy like that.
my name is Pastor Fred, and I am playing Oscar, Deacon Oscar.
Wait, I have a question for Allison. Allison, what do you do? Who are you?
I'm a singer, and I'm also married to Mel, who is one of the armor bearers of the pastor.
She got a little secret too that's gonna come out.
Wait. For those who are like, what's an armor bearer? Can somebody break what an armor
They
bearer
just had to
is?
tell me because
I'm like, what's an
They
armor
bear
bearer?
the armor.
They take care of the pastor. They make
Yes.
sure that after he exuberates all that energy in the pulpit, they take care
Well,
of
they do. Don't they bring them? Usually, I've seen them, which is what I don't like, is when I see in the big mega churches when they walk in with them like they're bodyguards.
Well, those are bodyguards,
Right.
but armor bearers.
So you got bodyguards and armor bearers.
Armor
Is everybody
bearers
on the
are
payroll?
No. Armor bearers usually, carry the Bible. Make
He
sure
carry his
that
own Bible.
after preaching,
That's what I said.
preaching
you can't carry your own
is like
Bible?
working
your
an
water.
8-hour job.
Really?
But if you can't carry your own Bible,
Or water.
Okay, Pastor Fred, you have some
I
good
think they keep
armor
the girls
bearers.
back.
They're
Yes.
pretty. They do their job
Yes,
efficiently.
definitely.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Maybe they should,
take
like, do
care.
a seminar for all the other
they
armor
need
bearers
to, because
out
after we finish pouring out ourselves to you, we need some help.
Okay.
Amen.
Because they still want you to solve the problems
Exactly,
after the
because after you exude all that stuff, they're gonna come to you, Pastor, I need prayer, and then you're gonna have to do that. So when you talk about church secrets, these are things that folk don't normally see. On
so the arm bearers
outside.
know a whole lot more than they actually going to tell.
They're the inner circle.
According to church secrets, the armor bearers kind of take after the pastor. Amen.
Well, without giving
after
too
the
much
pastor
away.
or hold the papers to the
So
pastor.
we can't talk about that, huh?
No, we ain't gonna do too much of that.
Can't talk about that. You got to come to the plate to see that one.
Started something, Pastor Fred.
Well, you got to give us a little bonus, something up in here.
I'll tell you a little bit.
Okay.
It's a secret.
That's perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye, Pastor. Thank you.
And that's what happened.
And that was that.
That's
all
all
right.
right.
So, all right, Don, you got this amazing cast together, and I know they're amazing because you don't pick nobody that isn't going to come in.
Well, I
and
have
bring
picked
it.
some people that didn't bring it.
Lord
and I've
Jesus.
learned
We're not
from
gonna talk
them.
about
but
them.
I have. No, I don't have to talk about them, but I have on several occasions.
But you work with them anyway, right?
You
Well,
worked
I
with
did
them
work
anyway.
with them anyway.
For the last time, huh?
Right. It was curtains after that.
Curtains.
Only because you have to be able to just bring it, and I don't mean just with the acting side of it, but just being able to get along with the cast and
Be professional.
and be professional. Because I'm used to. I've had this is a 19-member cast,
Yeah.
but I've had cast up to 23, and we haven't had any problems at all with anybody. Just everybody's just being there for each other. And when you find that you had that source or that energy that's not what you want and you need there, then you make a decision not to bring that person or those persons on anymore.
Sure.
Nothing other than the fact that I'm done.
Sure.
Right.
So that's what that means, but in our case, we have 19 cast members. I think we have 10 today. But it's been they know how to act. And I don't mean act as far as actors or singers. I mean act in a position that they're in, not for me, but just because of themselves and how they carry themselves.
But that's important. That is so important because once you get a job, you're still being observed.
Absolutely.
You know, and people are thinking about you. Even your cast members. You'd be surprised the people that you work with who are looking at how you're behaving and they're thinking about using you for a project that they're working on in the future. But you shouldn't just do it for that. You should behave and treat others properly because that's just the way you're supposed to be.
That's the way you're supposed to be.
So yeah, now you've got this lovely, beautiful woman dressed in my favorite color here. And that's right, we are deltas. Yes. So yes. Yeah. Are you a solo? Yay, she's so special. All right, no. So anyway, let's talk to you, Soror, about your character and your involvement in this wonderful production.
Well, Ella is the church secretary, and she's totally misunderstood.
Because she doesn't want the pastor, right? And everybody.
Oh no, she can't deal with the pastor, and the pastor definitely cannot deal with her. Mm-hmm. But she does know a lot of his secrets, and all I'm going to say about that is, darlings, you will be surprised what happens behind these closed church doors.
So y'all just not gonna tell us nothing, huh? I'm just
not at this time.
I'm gonna have to bribe somebody. How much, Pastor? Let me put something in.
Is the pastor married?
But wait a minute.
No.
What?
Possibly.
We don't know.
All right. So did you grow up in church? I'm sure you have that vibe that you know.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
Grandmother was very strict about that.
So is there anything familiar to you in this production from your experience of growing up in church throughout the years?
Yes, there is.
All right. What? Talk to me.
May I be honest?
Yes, please.
Well, no offense, Pastor. I actually visited one of my friend's churches when I came here. And, of course, being who we are, I went in looking good.
Of course, you're fabulous.
And thank you. When I got up to make my offering, the pastor is standing there, and he wants to know who you with, sweet little thing. That's actually what he said to me.
Oh, my Lord.
And I went back to my cousin. I told her I could not believe it. I was ready to leave then. I'm like, doesn't he have a wife sitting on the front row?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, that's
but he wanted to know who was that sweet little brown thing, he said.
Oh, wow.
I can't say what I told him.
You can't say
you
what
can
you
tell
told
us off camera.
We'll do a commercial break.
We'll tell you.
Made me tell you.
We'll let everybody know in code.
Wow.
And that's terrible because that could have put such a bad taste in your mouth. You didn't want to go back to anybody's church after that. I mean, it makes you look at pastors.
No, and I never went back to that one.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, it just made me feel that some of the things I'd heard that I thought were possibly untrue, that people were just talking, I realized that it could possibly be true.
Right. But for those people that decide to have church at home, listen, there are really some good pastors out there.
Of course there is.
Of course. Amazing. It's just unfortunately we've all had some, well, no, I don't want to speak for everybody. But
church hurt.
We've had church hurt or church experiences that are just not correct like yours.
I think a lot of times,
if you can,
I think a lot of times people forget that these are also human beings,
right?
And these are also men and or women, and just because they have the disguise of church or the Bible, what I have found out is that a lot of times you'll be surprised why people get into the ministry. Sometimes they get into the ministry because of the fact that they want to spread the good news and they want to be able to be over a flock. But sometimes it's for the attention. It's for the control. It's for the what did you say? Somebody said it? Oh,
well,
yeah.
I think sometimes people step into the role because they think it's what they're supposed to do because their father did it or their mother.
Well,
did
that's
it.
sometimes too. But what I have found, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I know, I'm from Philadelphia, but in Los Angeles, I have witnessed some ministers that I did not think were in it for anything else but self. What comes along with that? Yeah. And that bothers me on a lot of levels because you have people that will follow you and that look to you, not so much as to tell them the path to walk, but to lead them not only to Christ, but here's what the good word says, and I want to be an example. And you have a lot of ministers that are not the example that they should be, which is probably one of the reasons why I have not joined a church recently in the last few years, because what I've experienced. And you can't, they're all not the same, of course. But what happens is it does put a bad taste in your mouth. And you don't know who to trust and who not to trust when you see certain things. I could tell you stories, but I'm telling you in church secrets, a lot of the things that are that the reason why they appear to be so real, like and true, not only because the actors are doing a great job, is because they are true.
Definitely. We were talking about that before the show, and you were saying that you did this, and of course there's comedy, you guys. There's a variety of everything, but he's bringing out the seriousness of making people aware of what really goes on.
You have to know who you follow. If indeed, you ever hear people say this? Somebody will say, Trish, what's your church? Instead of you saying, oh, it's Mount Carmel, they say, oh, I go to Pastor so-and-so's church.
Right. Because he's popular.
and they didn't ask you who your pastor was.
Right.
They said, what church do you go to?
Yes.
And that's because a lot of times these ministers will put in their head that I'm bigger than the church.
Yeah.
Stop playing.
Yeah, and I used to go to a big church, but now I'm at a very small family-like church. And what I love about Pastor Arlen Sanchez is he definitely gives love to his wife every single Sunday almost.
In Pasadena?
In Pasadena.
I've been to
the
that
Covenant.
church.
You went to the Covenant? Get out of it.
Wait. Is
Pastor
that where we went, Andrea, when
Sanchez.
Charles got married? I think that was his church there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you, he always gives love to his wife, and you don't find that a lot. He lets the women know, yo, I don't know where you're coming from, but I love my wife.
Well, you guys some of them still pay. You guys some of them still pay their wife attention every Sunday and be somewhere else every Sunday night.
Yeah, let's keep it 100. Well, let's move on to the next kid.
I'm still trying to evangelize. I'm still trying to evangelize Don. So we're trying to get him.
Look, thank you. Look, also, is there a question? I'm just talking about my character. Okay.
Yeah, no, you
Okay.
and I mean, have you ever suffered a church hurt? Like, share.
Well, I'm Avi Bernard, and I'm playing Sean Dallas, and actually, I'm Jewish in real life. I've dated Christian women and went to church with them, and I think a lot of what Don said is exactly right on. I mean, religion can be a wonderful thing for those who really are in it for the right reasons, but there are a lot of people who are not in it for the right reasons, and there are people who feel a sense of entitlement just because they are involved in a certain church, and they kind of act differently towards people who are different than them. I mean, it's kind of like not like religionism, not like racism, but it's because someone's not Christian like you feel like they're doing something wrong. And I think that's why I like this play a lot, and I love the script because it has all the parts of the church that are real. I mean, it has genuinely, I think, in most churches and most religions, whether it's Judaism or Christianity or Islam, most of the people in that religion mean well.
Yes.
And so in this church, in this play, most of the people in there genuinely mean well. They have their flaws, but they mean well. With the exception of some of the people in the church.
Why are you looking at me? I ain't in it.
But I think that's why I like this play, because I mean, of course, it's also hilarious. I mean, we were in rehearsal the other day, and Danny Deloyd was going off, and I was laughing so hard that I became a distraction. I had to remove myself from the immediate proximity because I was just laughing so hard because it's so well written and it's so funny, but it's also very real. And to me, I think we're all people, and how you live your life is the most important thing.
Amen.
And so that's why I really like this play.
Woo!
All right.
Now we got the football player over here.
I didn't know he was gonna be all nice and say all that.
And Danny does that well too. Let me tell you, Danny
He's
will go off real
certifiable,
good.
I just want to know, is he wearing pink shoes in this production?
Oh, well, wait a minute now. Hold on a minute. He go,
Danny was in Ferguson
no,
with me.
let me tell you something. He gonna have a whole. Listen, this is a very flashy pastor.
Oh my! Oh, that's where the church money's going. Is that where the church money going to the wardrobe?
Yes.
Oh my God! I thought Pastor Fred was playing the pastor.
No, he the
Danny
real
Deloyd,
pastor.
he's the real
covering.
pastor.
He's the real pastor. That's why he said he's evangelizing him, girl. You got to follow the track. That's why I told you. I saw the spirit. I was like, this is the real deal. So the Holy
That's
Spirit
your mentor.
is
That's your coach.
I was like, you on your own.
You better bring the pastor with you, Don.
Yeah, but he's also, as you'll see, he's a character in the play. And what I love about Pastor Fred is that he's not afraid to go where I need him to go as an actor, and his church family understand, because I have him doing something in this play which I will not tell you, but I am sure that Southside Bethel will look at him differently on Sunday morning.
Let's give them a shout out.
Miss Howard will look at you.
Let's give them a shout out.
Southside Bethel.
Come on, Dad. What's the address?
Southside Bethel Family of Purpose. We're on
yeah,
104th and
sorry.
San Pedro Street in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing. I've been at KJLH for like 7 years now, and so I've actually filled in on gospel shows, and I've hosted gospel shows, and I've been on the overnight shift where we played gospel music, and I've actually encountered a lot of pastors in that time, and some of them are not men of God.
Okay.
Wow.
Actual men who I've met, and we're vibrational beings. People are vibrational beings. When you meet someone, you can kind of feel their energy. And I've met some wonderful pastors, but some of them are just like, wow, I don't want to be anywhere near that person.
That's terrible.
Void of
That is
life.
so sad.
Jack
These are the
legs.
same people laying hands on you.
Oh,
and
yes.
praying for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, my God.
And fleecing you.
We rebuke them demonic spirits.
Pray for them.
All right, brother.
Now to the
Next,
football player.
First of all, and actually, he was keeping up with
what
the
happened?
score. What's the score? What's the score?
Well, I'm from,
Ask him does he know his lines in the script?
You know, Don be
oh, Don, I do know the score.
Look, I didn't sell him out. You know, Don will throw you under the bus in a minute.
Under the bus.
I didn't do it. Do you
I
know your
forget I
lines?
forget I heard that, but
Yeah, what's
I'm
the
a Buffalo fan,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Buffalo was beating Oakland 24-9, and I
Oh.
believe they lost.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I was listening to the game. We was winning. I came on the air and something happened.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we'll check it out after the show. All right. So go ahead. Talk
And
to us
you know
about
your lines, right?
I know the score. Of course, I know my
about
lines.
me throwing you under the bus.
I'm
Ain't
just
that
trying to give him a moment to redeem himself.
He gonna be more in the moment.
Ladies,
Oh.
just come check us out December 17th, and you'll
You
see
know the
everybody knowing all their
athletic
lines.
Okay, December 17th. That's awesome. All right, so talk to
Yes.
us about your experience with your church experiences and how it correlates with this production. Church
Your
got a time
character.
limit?
Your
I
character.
got-
Yeah,
You have a problem with that, Don?
well, you talking about somebody don't go to church, but
Oh.
let him go ahead and tell us.
That's okay. You can keep it 100.
First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Bethesda Full Gospel Word Harvest Church in Buffalo, New York. You guys, I haven't seen you guys in a while, but next time I'm in town, next time I'm in Buffalo, New York,
When's
I am
that?
coming by.
Right.
It's definitely not going to be December 17th.
We have somebody else on
December
the evangelist
17th.
list.
So,
Yes.
all right.
I've traveled around a lot in multiple different countries, and so I've been affiliated and visited many churches. You get some of everything. I think what we forget is people are still people. It doesn't matter where you go. You go to church, you go to the grocery store, they're the same people. I think what happens is, just like all people, people get into a comfort zone. And and a sense of entitlement. And what happens is you get a routine. You go to church You go to church every Sunday for, so often. And then after a while, what happens is they forget what that message was and what the whole purpose for them going is. And just like anything in life, you do things for a routine. Sometimes you take things for granted in entitlement. And I think what happens many times in churches, and again, I'm not, to each his own. People have their own personal agendas and intentions. But I think what happens is we can go to visit a church. We see something that kind of throws us off. That gives us a bad taste. We forget people are people. And I think it's important, especially for people that are communing in that church or leaders of that church, to always be mindful of that. Because yes, people come in, we look to them for guidance, look to them as to set an example. And it's nobody's perfect, but just to always, day in and day out, to remember what that message is, and not just the message that you're preaching in church, but that message of what you stand for and what your walk is in life. And I think if you do that, what happens is that goodness and that message will overpower all the evil, so to say, or imperfections that we all have.
That's pretty good.